Mickey Mouse. To whom it may concern, we at Disney demand a cease and desist. Also, by mentioning one of our characters by name, you now owe us 2 years of ad revenue from your channel. Actually, never mind, we just checked and this channel is dead, Lamau Rip Bozo. That's just rude. Accurate, but still rude. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. This is one of those games I remember playing quite early in my gaming career. Though this is a Quackshot combo cart. I did have the actual game, but I don't really know where that is right now. Look guys, it's been a while. The game released in Japan and North America in 1990 and in the EU a few months later in 1991. Developed and published by Sega themselves. I'm playing the Mega Drive version, but there are also versions for the Game Gear, the Master System, and a Japanese exclusive Sega Saturn copy. We start our adventure off with a simple tale. Everyone's happy and lives in peace, except for one who decides, yoink! So of course, it's our job to go and save Minnie from the Castle of Illusion with the most powerful weapon, and no, not a Keyblade. That ass. In order to save Minnie, we need to collect the 7 rainbow gems, each being protected by the many bosses of the castle. And in order to get to them, we must first go through a level behind one of the castle's many illusionary doors. Each stage and its enemies are based around some sort of theme. So the first level sets us off in a forest environment, transitioning into jumping on big leaves with the most adorable spiders ever, and then we enter the haunted, ghost-filled forest. Not to worry too much though, my ass can still handle the incorporeal. In terms of gameplay, moving around is pretty precise, though you will definitely feel a certain floatiness when you jump. It's certainly not bad though, and you do get used to it. I think my only complaint with the physics is grabbing onto swinging things can be a little weird, but those rarely exist outside the first set of stages anyway, so that's not really a problem. You're given 2 ways to deal with enemies, the more direct approach being you butt slam them, or as you play the stage you slowly collect the themed throwable weapon. In this case, it being apples, allowing you to take care of enemies at a much safer distance. But in terms of gameplay, that is your entire kit, your movement and your 2 basic attacks. No power-ups or other weapons you get later. This is it. After about 3 stages, you usually go up against a boss, and they kind of follow your typical retro 2D platformer style boss, giving you a fairly easily readable attack pattern with a chance to attack, beat the boss, and get the rainbow gem. So a fairly average experience from the boss fights, but oh my god. Oh, goddamn, Castle of Illusion, where'd this come from? It's a short loop, but man, it gets me pumped. And that's not me talking down on the rest of the music so far, by the way. In fact, there are some really standout moments in this soundtrack. Stage 3's music in particular always hits a nostalgic spot for me. I feel like even as a kid, I really enjoyed this track. It gives you such an adventurous feeling, which goes alongside this beautiful looking level really well. It's just a shame about the rest of it. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Because stage 2 exists. It's a thing. I believe the theme for this stage is like a toy box. I mean, the level is practically built with building blocks. Jack-in-the-boxes everywhere, even jelly to get stuck in. You got toy soldiers, toy planes, this weird juggling clown. The first 2 areas are kind of tame, but the 3rd area will always stand out in my mind because it's the only level that has a screen flipping mechanic. Well, actually, the boss stands out too, but we'll get to that in a bit. Stage 3 starts off promising and adventurous, and a big reminder that this game looks great, by the way. Really selling all the themes the levels are trying to go for, with some amazing color range. With that in mind, what kind of vibe do you think Stage 3 is going for? Oh, what's that? You didn't guess underground fish people? Wow, clearly you're not paying attention. I never really got on with this set of levels, mostly because the 2nd area requires some precision platforming, some timed jumping as well, and the bosses you go up against 5 of said fish people. They just bounce around and be annoying. Stage 4. I really enjoy stage 4 actually. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I see a bunch of A's. It's instinct. This level actually is a bait and switch. It starts off like this, but suddenly you're thrown into Candyland. And I must say, while I do enjoy this stage a lot, the parallax scrolling makes me feel... I'm pretty sure it's because the background is moving faster than the foreground, and it's supposed to be the other way around. But hey, it's a beautiful level, so I'll let it off this one time, considering it's the only time it does this. It's also the stage to throw off the formula by giving you a rainbow gem at the end of Area 1, then throwing you back out to where you entered the Candyland. And I'm pretty sure I can say this is my favorite part of the whole game. Not only does it have appealing visuals, but it always feels like there's something going on, something to look out for. Sections that do something a little bit different to change it up. The level itself is quite large, which could be why it was treated a bit differently. Then you go right back into Candyland to fight the Licorice Dragon. That's one more gem down, 2 to go. The next stage is castle themed. Yeah, I couldn't help but think that when I first saw this. This stage is going to rough you up as you explore. All kinds of traps and enemies to slowly eat away at you as you try to escape. Things getting more and more difficult as you gradually descend. And when you're finally at death's door. Ooh, a rainbow gem! The next area is easily one of the worst. Mostly because it's all underwater and it's all trial and error. Better hope you go the right way! Thankfully, it's fairly short though. But finally, we're on the last stretch. Just gotta climb up the clock tower. This level is made to test your skills up to this point, introducing moving and spinning platforms. It can be pretty tough, so I hope you've gotten used to how it plays by now. The boss of this level is actually a little bit more tricky. You have to bait him into attacking first, otherwise he'll block you. But with this boss down, that is our final rainbow gem. It's time to save Minnie. Mickey has collected all 7 rainbow gems. That means Mickey can become Super Mickey! Oh wait, no, they just form a rainbow bridge for Mickey to cross over, okay. Nowhere near as cool. And already we're at the final boss, our confrontation with Miserable. Their pattern is to spawn on the various platforms around the arena and summon ghosts that spin around and fly out. Your task is to wait for the moment to strike and do that a few times and you win. Not only do you save Minnie, but you give Miserable an entire makeover. I guess they're happy looking like a mouse now. Then roll credits. What a delightful adventure from start to finish. But I have to be honest, this was actually a game I was kind of scared of as a kid. Yeah, I don't get it either. I made a video a while back of like top 5 things that scared me that aren't scary. I feel like this should have been on the list somewhere. The funny thing is it's not even stuff you'd expect it to be. Spooky ghosts? No. The weird clowns of level 2? No. It was a giant apple. Your boy got scared of an apple! It just rolls down and squishes you. That's all it does. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Maybe this is the reason why I can't handle chase scenes in horror games and why apples are like my favorite fruit. Wow, trauma's weird. You know, I'm thinking about it and there's quite a lot in this game that unsettled me as a child. Look at the boss of level 2! Especially when you're close to beating him and he's all red. Also, I learned very young that I don't do well under pressure or on very strict time limits. So while stage 3 had a very lovely beginning, its third area really stressed me out. Better make sure you get to the next platform before the water comes! Hurry! And of course, much like a lot of things on that list, I look at it now and I'm like, but why? It actually stopped me from playing the game. Castle of Illusion has difficulty modes, and if you choose practice, you can play through a bite-sized chunk of the levels. And I am talking small. You get one area from the first 3 stages. It legit just gives you one of the rainbow gems at the end of a level. You get to the end, you hand over the gems and save Minnie. It then tells you normal has plenty more levels to play. As a child, that used to be my preferred way of playing the game, because it would skip things I didn't like a giant apple. Of course, as I got older, I started playing the actual game, but I don't remember beating it all that much back then. There's only 5 stages in total, so it's not like it takes very long to finish. So nowadays, anytime I play it, I enjoy it start to end. And it will be forever remembered as one of the better Mickey Mouse games I played as a kid, to be locked away in the past forever. Until they made a remake. In 2013, Sega released the remake on PlayStation 3, PC, Xbox 360, and various mobile devices. Mickey himself controls pretty similarly, but to me he doesn't feel anywhere near as floaty in air. And while the story and visible themes of the original game are still present, everything else is completely different. And I must say, it's really nice to see these areas reimagined in a 3D environment. And I don't just mean visually, there are some moments this game will throw you into 3D gameplay. Like running away from an apple! Although actually, It's really cool section. Like, I just find this remake very impressive. I absolutely love the visuals. I think they did a fantastic job of representing the 2D game with the new art style. There are plenty of references to the original, alongside some really cool new ideas. But the game does have references to other Disney games and media of the original's era. Hidden around the levels are collectibles to unlock outfits for Mickey. My personal favorite being the reference to Quackshot as you collect Donald's chili peppers. These give you a nice reason to really explore these levels. The overall experience just feels a lot more cinematic. Legit, sometimes it just feels like I'm watching an animated movie. There's even an optional narrator that will sprinkle around flair and extra story bits to enhance that feeling.
Into the castle entryway strode the mouse with the heart of a great lion, though his knees felt more like those of a frightened kitten.
And what really helps that, and one of the big selling points about the whole game, is the soundtrack, composed by the one and only Grant Kirkhope. So yes, you can look forward to his very specific style. It does get a bit Banjo-Kazooie up in here. And while Grant uses the melodies of the original soundtrack, I do have a nitpick. The remake's boss theme sounds nothing like the original. That might be intentional given its short loop, but come on! There's actually a 3DS game called Epic Mickey Power of Illusion that does remix that boss theme. And it sounds awesome, I might add. Though that's not to say I dislike the music that was used. And if this remix hadn't existed, I probably wouldn't have thought about it. But it's like the one thing that just makes me go, man, because everything else here is great. I don't think the game by itself would wow people that much these days. It is a bit on the slower side and a little simplistic. But as someone who grew up playing the original as a remake, this is really good. I feel it hits a good balance with nostalgia for the original alongside new ideas. And you know what, Sega? Hats off to you. I was really impressed with the cutscene where you get all the rainbow gems and turn into Super Mickey.
Oh, that does it, Mirabelle! Don't fuck with this mouse! Here I come!
Honestly, I can see why this was a classic and why it got a remake. It's a simple, fun, creative, colorful platformer. And while it might not appeal to those who like more fast-paced action, similar to Sonic, that's probably the only negative thing I can really take away from it. So if you're a big fan of Disney or prefer more slower platformers, this might be the game to try. But those were my thoughts on Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. Thank you for watching, and thank you for waiting.
In editing, I noticed that Mickey doesn't use his butt anymore. Worst game, 0 out of 10.
Thank you for watching this episode of Pixelated Memories. And a special thanks to my supporters for continuing to support me even though I've been away. They basically just use it as an excuse to keep supporting me regardless of what I do. So I am very, very grateful. Honestly, thank you. Not gonna lie, recording this end bit, I got a bit emotional. I've picked 2 of my personal favorite episodes I've recorded, so check on one of those if you want to continue watching. Also, I do apologize if I'm a little rusty. Has been a while since I've done one of these. My lighting's all screwed up. I apologize. And of course, thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me.